I did tag our new friend Roger Clemens in the show tweet today, so hopefully, Raj, if you're watching after your son's great weekend, yeah, he's one of the major discussion points because he's been freaking phenomenal.
So good.
He's been really good. You didn't have a left-handed bat. He's a super utility type of kid, and he's shown he's clutch, albeit in a very small sample size. But he's not intimidated by any moment that he's stepping up into the batter's box. I mean, that was a really good pitch that he went down and got. And this kid is making Dave Dombrowski in the front office, I think, weigh all options here as they go forward.
So here we are again, another situation where a guy was called up because of an injury. We saw this with Spencer Turnbull, who we just expected was just going to be a temporary placeholder while Taijuan Walker was working back. And we see it yet again as Trea Turner when he went down in the first week of May. And we get the call up for Kody Clemens, that Kody has now forced us to have these tough conversations. And what I love about the way that he's playing is he also is adding in everything that we've been looking for. You talk about that versatility piece. I mean, Kody has the ability to be the emergency catcher, first base, second base. He can play anywhere. He can play in the outfield. He can literally play anywhere. And so now it leads to the question of how can you work him in to have a bigger role and, more importantly, have a roster spot? Because you look at the numbers for Kody. Now, as we know, this past weekend, major opportunity for him. Called up Saturday, 2 outs, game on the line, down, and Kody gets the game-tying run, smashes a home run. It was a beauty. It was great to see as he hit that 413-foot home run on Saturday, a 106.6 mile per hour blast, forced the extra innings. And in that moment, Kody Clemens absolutely solidified himself and won everybody over, because prior we've already been talking about him being sneakily really good when he's called up. The numbers that he's had in his games prior to Saturday were very good, but this weekend was that like turning of a corner where you look at him and you're like, okay, no. Kody is the real deal. The numbers that he's putting up are fantastic. In the last 2 games, in his 7 at-bats between Saturday and Sunday, 3 runs, 4 hits, 2 doubles, that 1 home run, which could not have come at a more clutch time, 3 RBIs, and then overall for this season, when you look at every time he's been called up, he's made a big play. Whether coming in as a pinch hitter or just being able to get the start, every game that Kody Clemens has stepped on the field for the Phillies, it's been fantastic to have 28 at-bats, 7 runs. You do that math. 28 at-bats, and you've got 7 runs in every game that you've played this season. You're scoring a run in like a quarter of your times. You have 9 hits, 3 home runs overall, 10 RBIs, and 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. Batting average at a 321, a 345 OBP, and slugging at an 821. Kody Clemens is showing us it's not a fluke. It's not a one-time thing. And put some respect on my name. Include me in the roster conversations because I'm here to stay. That's what I got from this.
At least until Trea Turner's back. Unfortunately, the reality of the situation is Kody's the only guy with options left. I think he's earned his chance to be a major league player without a doubt. But I would highly doubt, in talking to Tyler and talking on our Discord, people were like, well, just DFA Pache. You might be able to get him back. And I was like, I really don't think you will. I think if you DFA him, he's gone. So I do think the Phillies most likely are going to try to move him, maybe for like a low arm pitcher or cash or something, because, look, you need a lefty off the bench. I mean, we've talked about that going back to December. And Kody Clemens has stepped up, and, it's a small sample size still, but he's taken it. And he got rewarded yesterday starting second base. Rob said Trevor Williams, Whit Merrifield stinks right now. We're not going to go righty on righty. Get out there, kid. And he goes out there again and 2 doubles. I mean, his OPS is 1.166. That's unbelievable. The kid's been on an absolute tear. He's earned a job. I just don't think it's going to happen in the near future. Well, it's the way the baseball's played. The person with options is usually the shortest straw, deserving or not. So we'll see what happens. But he's definitely made Dave Dombrowski and Sam Fold sit down and go, all right, damn, this kid's earned it. He had a tremendous spring training. Now he's his second trip up. He stepped up both times in Cincinnati on the road trip when Bryce was on paternity. Now. I mean, it's a real deal. He's got some pop. He can play all over the place. He's kind of a perfect bench piece. So, Kody Clemens is going to be on this roster, I think, permanently at some point this season after the trade deadline.
Yeah. Let us know what you guys would do. John's also mentioning DFAing Pache, as you talked about. That has been something that's been brought up.
I think he's got a little enough
Pache
value that they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to get a lot for Cristian Pache. I'm not sitting here like, oh, you got to milk it and get it. No, you're just, why lose the kid when you could potentially get something? And they might target like some kid that throws 100 miles an hour and can't throw strikes like George Clausen and hope to develop him and get him in the system. So they're not going to give away Pache. I just find that
exactly. He will
business.
Get grabbed and snagged fast, and definitely needing a lefty bat does unfortunately make this situation even more difficult. But when you look at John has a good point, and I actually had this written down in my notes after this weekend of like, is Kody Clemens showing up the way that we thought Whit Merrifield would? He's younger. He's in a whole different spot in his career in general, but he is showing to be that ultra utility piece that the Phillies were looking for in Whit Merrifield. And John's mentioning in the chat, I wish they had a time machine to not do the Whit signing. But that's how it goes sometimes. Like, you had this plan, and I still think Whit will work out in time, I hope. I'm a little nervous, but I do feel like Kody has been that utility piece that the Phillies need. And now the question becomes, what is his role? And something that I was reading this weekend that was brought up is the fact that Kody Clemens, of course, has that versatility. Not only can he play in the infield, which is unfortunate because the Phillies infield is locked. You're not
stepped up too,
but correct. But also, Kody Clemens has played. We saw this spring in spring training, he played 8 innings in left field, and we've also, of course, seen him in right field for the Phillies. He played 8 innings in right field for the Phillies last season. But the majority of his time with the Phillies has been at first base. So I love the fact that he can be that infield backup. But I know it was mentioned and even brought up to Rob Thompson about considering using him in a corner outfield spot. And Rob mentioned possibly, anything's possible. Kody mentioned he's always ready. He's got all his different gloves, whatever is needed. He's got a bunch of gloves in his locker. So whatever position they need him, he'll be ready. And maybe this is a chance you send him, when you do send him back, it shouldn't be any time too soon because you don't have to rush Trea Turner back. Get him some reps maybe at outfield and see what's possible for the future for Kody, if he can be someone that can help as an outfielder in a corner spot, maybe right field as a backup, maybe for Nick.
Castellanos is the only guy in Major League Baseball that gets to dictate how many games he plays. I'm not trying to, but it's just, you don't have anybody in right field because you play Castellanos every game.
Right.
And which, look, durability and, being able to play every game is an asset for sure. And Nick looks like he's better.
Yeah, we saw
he jumped on
nice
a first pitch
Sunday.
yesterday.
Correct.
Yeah, kind of kept the rally going. He's looking a little more aggressive. Hopefully just shut that brain off and go back to like what got you here type of thing. But yeah, they don't really have a ton of people to play right field. So yeah, if you are going to send him down, maybe throw him out in the outfield a little bit more. Completely agree with that. Get him some reps because I do think he's going to be here. Obviously, even beyond the extended roster come September.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be here after the trade deadline and All-Star break full time. The kid's earned it. So, Roger, kudos to your son. He has taken an opportunity and ran with it. They needed a left-handed bat, and, he stepped up.
Yeah, and I love the fact that he even stepped up yesterday. We saw gets the call. He was 0 for 2 against left-handed pitchers, gets the call in the game. Game's all tied up. Rob had confidence in him. He said he had the choice of, possibly going to Sosa, but instead went to Kody there, and Kody did deliver and started what ended up being a really major change for the Phillies in that game. That you look in the 5th and 6th inning, they score 6 of their runs in that 2-inning stretch, and Kody was a big part of that. Delivered again. Rob said he trusted him because he had the hot hand, the hot bat at the moment, and it was great to see even in that moment to get a hit against, a left-handed pitcher that the Nationals brought out, whose name I'm forgetting as right now, but doesn't matter, irrelevant. And that Kody was able to even show there that he can get a hit against a left-handed pitcher.